Sitting at the low population of about 450, the North Atlantic right whale is one of the most endangered species of whale in the world, and the future doesn't look bright for its survival.
Hopefully it's not too little too late, because certainly the current trajectory of the North Atlantic right whale population is dire. So, I mean, I've spent a lot of time at sea and on the beach, documenting, diagnosing these animals. So I've lived it, I know it, and it hurts me a lot.
Michael Moore of the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute warns of the fast decline of the whale that lives in our backyard.
There are only about 100 reproductively active females left, and they've been dying at around 5 a year, so that gives you about 20 years to deal, and that's a very short amount of time.
With time running low and the population falling, scientists have been trying their hardest to find any possible solution that could reverse the downward spiral, and the primary focus has been on the ropes used in fishing traps.
Larger whales, such as North Atlantic right whales, tend to specialize in getting entangled in rope from fish traps. The numbers come down to about a quarter of the population acquiring new entanglement scars every year. 84% of the animals have been entangled at least once.
Dragging the whale throughout the water, the ropes connected to crab and lobster pots wrap around vital areas of the whale and often lead to a great deal of suffering or even death. Haley McKee of the Defenders of Wildlife said that there is not enough rules and regulations in place against the ropes to save the species.
Clearly, there are protections in place. They are doing their job, but there need to be more, unless we make some very serious changes, unless the National Marine Fisheries Service makes some very serious changes right now. We may lose the North Atlantic right whale within our lifetime, which would be a tragedy.
In Australia, the Desert Star program has created new technology that could eliminate the threats of fishing rope and possibly save the right whale.
Scientists and entrepreneurs are testing ropeless fishing gear, which I think is awesome. And they're a win for, fishermen and seafood consumers as well as whales.
So ropeless fishing is actually a poor choice of words, because it's actually less rope fishing rather than ropeless.
Early versions of ropeless fishing used new technology to wirelessly send a rope up to the surface where the fisherman wants to retrieve the pot. But Stephen Haller, delegate for the Massachusetts Lobstermen Association, believes it will create more problems than solutions.
We as fishermen rely on the buoys so we can see other people's gear so we won't set on top of them. Traps are going to be lost and stuff like that. And it just creates a bigger mess, not only for the fishermen, but the whale, because now there's lost gear there. We don't want to lose gear. One, it costs money. Two, it doesn't help the ecosystem.
But as prototypes have been approved upon by Desert Star, a free Android app has been developed for fishermen to see where they and other fishermen around the area have placed their traps, avoiding possible overlap. But the cost of it all, Haller says, can be too much to bear.
I think you're seeing the decline of fishermen more so than you are whales, and it's if they keep going and going and going. I mean, I look at it this way: no one else is getting in the business. Give us 20 years, we'll all be out of the business anyways, because no one's getting in it.
Unfortunately for the fishermen, they are, it's unfair to say they're the low-hanging fruit, but they are the manageable entity, much as though they would not like to be managed, and I totally respect that. The reality is that if there was a will, there would be a way to achieve that change.
I got him. He's in. Back up. Get the boat buoy ready to go over.
There are people that love the whales, and I love them too, but we're seen as the big bad guys. We're the rapists. We're the murderers of the ocean. And it's just not so. We're family people. We're not killers. We love our children. We love our family.
The last thing we want to do is to really paint the industry in those lights, because it's not intentional. But if you look at the definition of whaling, there's nothing about intent involved. It's to catch a whale. And they've been catching whales with fixed gear for a long time at this point.
I guess I got a little grudge against them. But hey, I'm trying. I go to the meetings, with everybody. I try to, help support this industry and stuff like that. And it's just disheartening what they say. Nope, they want to do this, they want to do that. And I said, well, what about this? Nope, they didn't even want to hear it.
But time's running low, and meaningful legislation has yet to be implemented to save the whales.
I believe very strongly that with adequate knowledge and understanding, we should be able to bring the necessary political pressure. But I failed in that regard, for sure. I've been writing about the entanglement welfare side of things for 20 years, and traction has not come.
If you care about the North Atlantic right whale, then you need to let your representatives know that you take their conservation seriously.
Reporting for Mustang Magazine, I'm Joe Spadorcia.